Welcome there, you struggling hunters, to another episode with the struggling hunters. You got me, Joe, and
And Eric,
together we are the.
struggling hunters.
Yeah, we struggle a little bit here and there, but I guess what is life without struggles, huh?
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
But yeah, so here we're back at it again, another episode. Hopefully you guys like the last one we got put out. But anyways, we'll get right into it. This one we'll get started. Lately, there's been a video going around of a guy that was on a run in Provo Canyon here in Utah. I ran into into two cubs and a mom, mountain lion. And I guess that video was about 6 minutes long. Kind of interesting. Shoot, I would have been scared. Would you handle the situation any different? Would you done anything different?
Probably not. I mean, armchair quarterback. Honestly, I watched that video and I was like, oh, man, I'd be picking up a rock or finding a stick or something. But in all honesty, I mean, it worked out for him, and so he probably did the right thing.
So I don't.
But
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, the first thing that I think of whenever that happens, though, is just a weapon for some kind of defense.
Right.
But he probably did the right thing because chances are the first time, if he would have picked up a rock and tried to throw, I mean, it could have probably fully attacked him. But
right. Yeah. So it's hard. As I was watching it, I don't know, like, if you want to pick it apart, what could have done better or what could he done different, I guess. So I didn't until like the second or third time I got watching it, there's two cubs in there. And I thought it was kind of interesting. If you very beginning, you have the one cub that's kind of up around is it cub? You call it a mountain lion cub or kitten?
Yeah, I'd call it geez, I don't even know. I was cool with you calling it a cub, so.
So I guess I'll show my ignorance and call it a cub if it's not a cub. Anyways, so you have the one that's up closer to the mom, and you see it kind of disappear around the bend. And then there's one, a little bit in front of the dude, and the guy kind of, slows down and starts recording or whatnot, and is still moving forward towards them. And then you see the mom come around the bend, and then kind of at the same time, the cub or kitten that's closest to the guy takes off running towards the guy. And at the same time, the mom does too. So like you said, armchair quarterback here, like, the guy never stopped advancing onto him. And then you had the one baby that was the closest take off towards it. So I'm sure that put the mom, hackles up and defense mechanisms went and went after him. But it was surprising, like, how long the mom backed the guy up. Like, it was a 6-minute video, and he was only with them there for the first 1 or 2 seconds with the cub, and the rest of it's the mom backing the dude up and really, going at him.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for. Speaking of that, I was kind of waiting for any minute for that mountain lion to turn around. Have enough distance between the guy and her baby. So I thought for sure that she would have gave up a little sooner than that, but she didn't. So, yeah, it was crazy. So I do feel like unless he edited it out, but he was going on a run, and then
right,
he must have saw those kittens before pulled out his phone and started recording. And again, armchair expert, after the fact, but I'm like, man, you didn't think that the mom would be around? Like, what, I mean,
right.
Everybody kind of knows that.
Right.
So
yeah.
I was kind of like, I would have been a little bit smarter on that situation, but
Right. I don't know. I can't say I've ever been in that situation. I can say I've never been in that situation, so I don't know how I'd be. I've been in that situation with treeing a bear cub. Seeing a bear cub up in the tree. So I backed up almost foot first foot, like foot went into my old track as I was backing up. But but yeah, dude, that was a good thing he was able to to survive and live another day. But great thing is he got video.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know. It goes to show you though, even in those situations, uh, probably some bear spray would have done him good there.
True. Yeah. Yeah,
It,
because you notice, it's one of the fears about bear spray is the wind direction, getting yourself peppered, a little bit. But it didn't seem like it was very windy, so it probably would have been ideal to spray.
yeah. Well, it's just a line of defense that I mean,
Right?
personally, I'd rather have some bear spray in my eyes than claws in my throat
True.
or a mouth in my throat.
Right.
So, I mean, but like I said, I mean that guy, I'm not trying to sound
No.
hard on him or anything. I mean, he didn't know, but I feel like that's why that stuff's happening more and more. More and more people are going out for jogs in the mountains like that, and
Well,
and
and on top of that too is everyone has a camera, a decent camera at hand. So how often do you not that like you're in a different scenario, but you're like, oh, I want a picture of that, I want a video of that, and like how easy that is um to have that opportunity now. Like,
yeah,
you see, not like, yeah, that's cool. I probably would have done the same thing. Pulled out my phone and started videoing, because how often do you get to see baby lions?
yeah. I'd like to think though, like before any danger, because he turned on, from what it looks like, he turned on the camera and started walking closer to him.
Yeah.
Honestly, he should have probably kept his distance and still could have got video, but kept his distance and tried to maybe be a little more elusive himself and not be noticed.
Right.
But it's hard to say. I mean, maybe they did notice him. I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to critique the guy at all. I mean, he did. At the end of the day, no harm, no foul. But for
Right.
me, I look at that and I'm like, man, I would have been picking up rocks, would have been finding sticks. Like, I wouldn't have went down, like,
Right. Or the other interesting thing too, like, would you have turned around and run? Like, was it smart for him to keep his, to watch, or like to keep his back away from him, which is probably a smart move too. Like, I don't know if I would have turned around and like maybe ran a little bit, if that would have enticed it. I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know as far as that side of it goes, but yeah, throwing rocks, or I don't know.
Well, to add to that though, I think he actually did really good that way, not turning around, because he even said that toward the end of the video. He said, "Oh, I turned my head for a second, and you tried to charge me." So
Missed that.
yeah, he said that, like, I think it was kind of toward the end, and so I think that's why that cat would charge forward every once in a while, because he'd turn his head to see where he was walking,
Mm,
and that cat would charge at him every time he turned around. But well, I think actually did I think it all worked out for him. I was like, whenever I saw that video, the first time I saw it, I was like, is this cat gonna walk him all the way to his car?
right.
Like, that's what I was wondering. So,
Right. No, for
but
sure. But
I mean, it worked out for him, and that's all that matters. But man,
yeah,
that would have been scary.
it would have been.
And I mean, I gotta say, even though that I'm sitting here talking big, and like I said, I mean, no pressure on me, so I can do that. But I'm like, man, I'd be picking up a rock or a stick. But in all honesty, he probably did the smarter thing because, like I said, at the end of the day, no harm, no foul. If I would have tried to pick up, or if that would have been me and I would have tried to pick up a rock or a stick, like that's probably whenever everything would have went to hell in a handbasket. So
Right.
it's
Right.
probably good that he just did what he did.
Yeah. Like you said, end of the day, he went home with everything he had,
Yep.
nothing, no harm. So you got to hand it to him that way.
Yeah, for sure. For
But,
sure.
the other thing too is, if you look at it, kind of turn a little bit. The guy was out on a jog, a hobby of his, going for something he enjoyed doing. I mean, you're out in the woods doing something you more or less like to do, enjoying your time, and it turns that way. But like, if you look at it as a hobby thing, yeah, we hunt, we get out in those, we may have those opportunities at some point. So it's kind of fun, not fun, but interesting in a way to have that experience happen and see that video and go, okay, this is a hobby that I have. Am I doing anything to help my situation in that aspect?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as far, yeah, I mean, I would say for our hobby for the most part, and I went on hikes in the woods without any weapons or anything,
Right.
but the one thing though is like for our hobby is at least we do kind of have a line of defense usually, and at least have a rifle with us.
Right.
So that kind of helps it, helps put my mind at ease anyway. But
True.
with that said though, Joe, do you have any hobbies that could potentially kill you?
Well, aside from the obvious, I guess, trying to find that definition of potentially hurting yourself in a hobby. I mean, one of the things is I enjoy doing, and it still involves the outdoors, is mountain biking. That's something that I don't do as much as I used to or as much as I want, but I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun getting out in the woods and enjoying that side of the woods, or that side of Mother Nature. Um, you still hear stories of mountain lion attacks that way too, or even bad wrecks. But yeah, I'll turn it back to you. What about you?
Yeah, well, I like mountain biking too. It's weird. I don't really think of that whenever I'm mountain biking, like having an animal chase me or anything.
Right.
I never think of that, but sometimes whenever I am hiking or whatever, I think of it. So I don't know. It's weird how I can compartmentalize that, and when I'm on my bike, I don't even think twice about it. But when I'm out there hiking by myself or something, I'm like, oh man, what if a mountain lion was around the corner or something? What would I do?
Right.
So yeah, I definitely enjoy some mountain biking too, and kind of just like you, I'll kind of copy what you said, and I don't, I haven't went out this year, especially as much as I'd like to, as far as mountain biking, but yeah, I have a couple hobbies really. I mean, I'm one of those guys that kind of enjoy all types of different stuff. One thing that I like to do and is I like to golf. I'm not good at it, but I like to golf and try to see how far I can hit the ball.
I've
Usually,
only ever golfed once in my life, so next time I'm out there at Grand Junction, I might have to go hit around with you.
yeah, we should. I haven't really done that this year either. I've been so busy with everything and trying to get this going with the podcast and just kind of everything. I mean, it's not just the podcast, but focusing more on the outdoor stuff. And I haven't really got to a lot of my hobbies, honestly. So I don't know, maybe one of these
So
years I'll get back into it.
kind of along the hobbies line. So what, like, I guess there's a struggle or a complication to hobbies. Are you, so you mentioned that you have, I fall under the same category, um, as having kind of multiple hobbies. Like, uh, I like to make knives. I like to go out in the woods, mountain biking, camping, what kind of whatever encircles that. I kind of fall under in that aspect of it. Other hobbies I'd like to get into: photography, taking pictures, anyways. And so working out, spending time in the gym. But with that being said, uh, do you enjoy having yourself spread out over a bunch of hobbies, or would you rather pick just one hobby until you become an expert at it and then move on to another one?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the problem in it is, I mean, I have all these hobbies and I'm not great at any of them, really.
But are
So,
you okay with that, or is that something you want to change?
uh, hmm. Yeah, I'm okay with it right now. I mean, I uh I would like to get really good at a few hobbies, and I don't know. I guess the thing is the one hobby that I feel like I got pretty decent at. I wasn't, even close to like pro or anything, but um when I had I liked the dirt bike ride, which I sold my dirt bike a few years ago and haven't replaced it yet. But I got really good at that. I mean, that was actually uh a few years that I didn't hunt. I was more focused on uh riding dirt bike and racing. The races were nothing. Well, I mean, there were races, but they weren't like supercross races or anything. They were hare scrambles um, and enduro crosses. But um, but I was getting into that pretty hard. I was really enjoying that, and I got really good at that, or decent, I should say. I mean, I don't know if I tried to get as good as I could. I was especially whenever I was a little younger, I kind of had, like this like sliver of hope that I could take it somewhere, take that hobby and turn it into something. Never worked out, obviously, uh, but yeah, that was one hobby that I really, really had the crazy passion for, and and I don't know. But yeah, all the other hobbies, I think the reason that I don't really care if I get to where I'm excellent at them is because they all have their place and time. Springtime, the nice weather start. Well, I mean, I guess golf and mountain biking kind of fall into this category, but they all have their place and time in the fact that, like, uh, springtime comes and weather's getting nicer and I want to just get outdoors, and I'll do either one, just to enjoy being outside, just enjoy the good weather, to golf. And golfing's kind of like that thing. They A lot of the reason that I don't go all the time to golf is because I enjoy the fact of just doing it with my friends. And like, I'm not that hard up for golf where I want to do it by myself. It's
Gotcha.
more, it's funner to do with people,
Yeah.
kind of hang out for a few hours and with your friends. And I mean, cuss at every swing that I mean, it's just one of I do picture myself doing it a lot more whenever I get a little older and time is available for me to
Yeah.
really get into golf. I do kind of see myself down there every week or whatever, but and then mountain biking, the same thing, just wanting to get out in the nature and
Right.
work off the old winter gut. Try to get some mountain biking in to work off the old winter gut. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm to kind of get back to your question, I think that I'm good with kind of not being great at these hobbies. I think, like I said, everything has its place and time. Whenever I get a little older, I'll probably take golf a little more serious and probably want to get better at that over a certain amount of time. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of irritates me because, to kind of further into your question, it does irritate me at myself that, like, I feel like I'm decent or okay at a lot of different things, but I'm not like, there's not like one thing that I'm just a complete animal at, you know what I mean? So
Where it's like, oh, watch out, here comes Eric.
yeah, kind of. I
He's
mean,
gonna take all the fun out of it because he's so good.
yeah, I kind of wish I was like that at one thing, but I feel like I'm one of those people that, I can pick up something and I'm not going to knock anybody's socks off about how good I am, but I can like kind of do everything.
Have a good time with it.
Yeah. I can kind of make the best out of it and kind of pick it up fast. So I don't know. I just kind of enjoy being versatile like that, but it does irritate me that, it'd be nice to just have that one thing that I'm really good at too, but
right.
It is what it is. But what about you? Do you wish that you
Well, so I'll say it like, I will say, I guess like the envious side of me, like I want, like, kind of like you just said, like you that have that one thing that that everyone's like, oh, this is Joe's thing. Like, watch out. There's no way you're going to beat him. And I guess, in a way to put that in another aspect of it is, like having a sports car, like, not that I'm in, like, I shouldn't say, not that I'm into sports cars or anything. I don't have a sports car. I don't work on sports cars, but, like, I really enjoy sports cars, think they're really cool. And, but, that'd be something if you got into, you'd kind of sink all your time into it and you may not have enough time really to do other things. Well, like for me, it'd be hard to have time to do other things too. So, like it'd be nice to have that really nice sports car at the end of the day, but, you'd have something to show for, but, really, it is kind of fun to be able to spend time doing other things as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think kind of being into a lot of different things always kind of piques your interest. I think for guys, it gets expensive. I mean, I got into mountain biking and I don't even have the most expensive mountain bike, but I got into mountain bike and I'm like, these things are how much,
Right.
A couple grand for an okay one. What?
Right.
Get into golf and it's like, you want what for a club, like,
yeah,
like one little golf club and
all I want to do is hit that ball.
yeah. You're telling me if I spend $300 right now that ball will go straighter? Okay.
Right.
So, I mean, I think for guys in their hobbies, it gets expensive. And I think that's kind of what's hard to, I don't know. It's
to like, balance.
Yeah. And then golf, every time you go out, depending on where you go, but pretty much at least a $50 bill.
Is it? I wouldn't.
I guess you wouldn't know, huh?
No. I mean, yeah. So like my experience with golf is going up to the Hogs Back and knocking golf balls off the top. And I went once to the Orofino golf. Golf club? Golf club, yeah. And that was it.
Orofino, that one's
miniature golf a handful of times.
Then you're practically a pro.
That's what I was like, man, what's so hard about this?
Yeah. This is easy.
Right.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's a lot of fun. Whenever I first started, I'd say the first couple times, just testing it out, it was like, oh, that was all right, then, but after a few times, though, you kind of do get addicted. I mean, you're always trying to improve yourself because it's a self-disciplined game. And I mean, for most people it is. Most people
Right.
try to fluff their score, I think, but every time you go out, you just try to have a good game. And what irritates me about golf is I can go to the driving range before I go to the first hole, and I'm like, all right, feeling pretty good about my swings. And then there's something about being on the first hole and like the self pressure that you put on yourself to get a good hit and a straight, and then it goes off into the weeds and you're like, man, I was hitting the ball so good at the driving range. What happened? So it can get pretty frustrating pretty fast. But I did notice though that the one little tip here, a little hot tip for everybody. If you walk the course, you tend to hit a little straighter for some reason. At least for me, because I think whenever you have a cart, you're not too worried about chasing it,
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. You thought it was a real hot tip, huh?
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah. Well, I was like, get to know the lay of the land, understand how the grass falls.
Yeah.
Dip, like what? I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I take it whenever I walk the course. I take off my shoes so I can feel the course a little better, and like you said, become one with the layout of the land.
Yeah.
No. I do feel like that's a little bit true. Like at least for me, like I feel like I always hit a little bit straighter whenever I was walking. But I was like, I think it's because I'm not trying to smash it to see where it'll go. So I'm a little easier on it because I'm more focused about just getting it down straight than smashing it whenever I'm walking.
Gotcha.
So I don't lose my ball.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. It's a fun game, though.
Keep that in mind when I'm contemplating what to do when I go golfing next.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What, in another 20 years?
Give or take.
One game every 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be a pro by the next time you play.
Could be. That's what I'm shooting for,
Yeah.
Just give everyone a head start.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of a good idea, though. Maybe next time when you have time, we'll go out.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. But anyway, back to hobbies and whatnot. And I guess I kind of touched on a little bit, but kind of want to, I guess, go down a little deeper. But as far as automotive goes, do you have a favorite truck?
Oh yeah, we were going down that way. Man, I don't know. It's hard these days. I feel like everything's so good.
I feel like too, like if you're gonna bring up favorite truck, you almost these days got to break it up. Almost, you got to get say pre 2000 or because I feel like there's so many different avenues of trucks that you can even say is your favorite. I'll start in a way of I like the 70s models, or I'd really like to have an old 50s model really to be like an everyday driver, fix it up, update it and everything, and have a 50s model for my daily commuter. I think that'd be way fun. But then again, looking at these newer trucks, how plush they are anymore, yeah.
Well, yeah, with you saying that, I'm a little partial to the old 66 Chevy pickup. Do you remember that old truck that I used to drive?
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah.
Instead of a seatbelt, you had a string going from one door to the other door to keep the doors closed, and it acted as a seatbelt.
Pretty much. Yeah, every time. Well, the passenger side door worked just fine, but it was the driver's side door that would
Right.
fly open. So yeah, I would just have that bungee cord, and every time I turned every time I turned right, the door would swing open,
Yeah.
come back. It's funny that I got used to it. It didn't even bother me. But I did love that old truck. I had like big old plans for it and never really did anything with it. Um but yeah, that's one of my favorite trucks. But I've always been so kind of, if you go to brand, I'll break it down this way. I've always been kind of partial to Chevy. I've always liked the Chevy pickups, but I mean, I gotta say the last 5 or so years, maybe, yeah, about the last 5 or so years. I mean, I feel like at this point, it's just an emblem. I mean, they all are, so
True.
good nowadays, and they all kind of do the same thing, and they all ride nice. And because that was one thing that I always stuck with Chevy about is I always thought that Chevy had a really nice ride, and arguably they might still, but I'm driving a Ford right now for my work truck, and I like it. I mean, it's a 250, so on the back roads it can get a little bumpy, but it's still, I mean, compared to what they used to ride like, it still rides really nice. So
Right. No, I'm like with you, like, if I could say, I guess my absolute favorite, I like the 70s model Chevys. Like, I don't know if early or late, couldn't really say, but I like that, you know, 70s, is what I'll leave it at that. I just like that square body. I guess it looks kind of cool. Half ton, short bed.
looks tough.
Yeah.
So are we both agreeing that we don't really care for Dodge?
Sounds like it. I
I
guess
used to.
I was gonna say, to
Go
be
ahead.
fair, I've never really spent much time around a Dodge. Like I don't.
I had one for a bit. It was a decent truck, but I don't know. They're all right trucks. And nowadays they have some their trucks are pretty nice nowadays. I mean, they have all kinds of bells and whistles in them. I'll tell you, to not sleep on it, Toyota, I had a Toyota Tundra limited edition for a while, and that thing, I love that truck. I mean, it wasn't much for hauling or doing anything that you need a pickup for. I mean, the bed of it there was nothing there for the bed really, but uh I mean, it would tow, I guess, you could tow a trailer, but the room, I had the Mega, and the room in that was it was amazing. And then all the bells and whistles it was a 2008, and it had all kinds of bells and whistles in it that, I mean, a lot of them, I had a sunroof. I didn't ever use the sunroof, but it was a nice talking point. So
Gotcha.
yeah, that I really like the Tundra. I mean, it's still one of my, to like take the family around and stuff. It's probably one of my more favorite trucks to do that with,
Gotcha.
vehicles.
Yeah. So what about like lifts on a truck?
You got to have a lift on a truck.
Well, the big one or
I'm more like the 3 to 4 inches. Not too big, but you could
I just
definitely tell.
I guess I bring that up because I see a couple trucks go down the road, and you can tell people. I mean, they're good looking trucks, but like they got this big old lift on them. But I guess I'm more of a practical guy that if I have a truck, I'm using it as a truck somewhere in my life. At some point in my life, I'm going to be using it as a truck, whether it's moving stuff, uh, picking something up, throwing something in the back of the bed. And just some of those lists on the trucks, like, man, it would suck to use that truck as a truck. Like,
Oh yeah, you can't even get in the back of the bed.
yeah,
You almost need a I don't know, like a cherry picker or something to pick you up and get you in the back of there.
right. I mean, yeah,
Or
it looks cool, but I don't know.
an 18-foot ladder. No,
Yeah.
I hear you. I think that's just showing our age, though. We're starting to get older where we're like, no thanks.
True.
When I, I'll tell you what's goofy, though. I was in Vegas a few years back, and uh, me and the family were driving back home, and there was this truck. It was all lifted up, and it was an older truck too. Uh, it might have been like I think it was like a '90s or something Chevy, but it was lifted, looked really nice, and it was driving right beside us, and I was looking at it, and you know, whenever I see those trucks, I kind of admire them or look at them or whatever. And
Right.
I looked down toward the front there, and this thing was probably had a, I don't know, 8-inch lift or something. I mean, it was a little bigger than normal, and I was looking down at the front there, and I'm like, man, something looks a little goofy about that, and kind of looking a little harder, and that's a two-wheel drive pickup. Two-wheel drive pickup lifted 10 inches. I'm like, what are you gonna ever use? It was a total street, a street lifted pickup. I was just like, please, man, don't be one of those. Anybody listening to this, don't be one of those guys. You got a four-wheel drive if you're gonna do that to your pickup.
Right. Yeah, you gotta keep it a truck.
You got to keep it a truck.
That's like almost neutering
it. Kind of. That's a good take there. I like that. Don't drive a neuter truck.
Oh, shoot.
No, but you're right though. It is, yeah, you can't neuter a truck. Well, so I'm curious what you got to say. Well, I guess you kind of did say it. Are you into the lifted trucks though?
If I could have a fleet of trucks, like had a garage, and have my pick whatever I wanted, I'd probably have one lifted.
Yeah.
I do think I think they look nice, but the practical side of me, I probably won't lift it more than, my F-250, I got 2,000. It's lifted stock. It's lifted high enough for me for now. I don't really want it to be any higher.
Yeah.
And then, you kind of go along that line, be like, oh, for hunting and going down the backwoods and stuff like that. And I kind of take it as like kind of keeping it as a safety. And what I mean by that is like, if you get to start lifting your truck and you get going out in the backwoods and, and the road gets worse and worse and worse. And all of a sudden, you're getting yourself in a situation because you have a lifted truck and you get yourself stuck. Then it's like, well, is the next guy, am I going to be able to call a buddy up and he's going to be able to get in here to get me out? Or am I going to be able to get myself out of this situation because, I was like, oh, I can make that. I can clear that. And, you kind of get yourself, in a worse situation because you got lifted. So I kind of keep it as like, like I don't want to go too bad because I don't want to get myself in a situation that I can't get out of.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I kind of feel the same way, but I have a Toyota out here that I have future plans for it. I mean, I guess we kind of have a couple options. We might get rid of it when we're ready to update it, but for trade in and stuff like, that whole game.
Right.
But if we do decide to hold on to it, I kind of have some big plans to lift it, and not much, just like probably 3 inches, put some bigger tires on it, kind of trick it out a little bit, and then use it for a hunting vehicle. That's kind of my big plan, is to be my hunting vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I guess that's my take on trucks. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I don't know what I can't really go down another. I mean, we can head down a whole nother hole, but that's nothing worth going down today. I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now you know what the struggling hunters like in their trucks. That's for sure.
True.
But I will say though, to kind of transition and pivot over to another subject, I went out to where hunt camp is. Hunt camp's really close. Going to be happening really soon here. And I went up where hunt camp's going to be, and I'm really excited about it. I didn't do a lot of scouting, but I went out there and checked out the area a little bit, and I'm really excited about where we're going to be hunting this year. And yeah, so should be fun. Should be a good time. My hunt season is coming up here real quick. This will probably be dropping after I'm done hunting, but yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get on here and
Yeah,
say
I
that,
I
say
can't
that
wait
I'm
to
successful.
see how it goes for you. I hope you're successful too. I feel like you should be. Like going off the new information, we've, in a way we kind of crossed. I mean, if we go off of past experiences, we crossed off 2 other areas in the area. I mean, yeah, if we're not seeing anything, or if you're not seeing anything, I wouldn't hesitate going into where we've been the last couple years just to peek your head in to see if there's anything there. But we've never really seen a lot of sign. So
Yep.
this other area, I think I'm kind of excited for you to see how this works too.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it. Man, I don't know. I'm nervous because I'm not nervous. I need to think of a better word to explain that. But I'm anxious, I guess, because I really want to get something this year. And it's been a long time, and I have a lot of hope for this area. It's big country, but I'll drop this hint for the whole situation is the glassing opportunity is going to be prime. A lot of good opportunity to glass and focus on glass in a lot of area to hopefully come across something. So with that, I mean, I feel like that kind of ups our chances to be more successful. Where I've been the last few years, I mean, in all honesty, you could probably go in there with an open sighted 30-30 and do just as good, because probably the longest distance is maybe 200 yards, 150 to 200 yards.
Yeah.
Which that's what I'm hoping that I kind of am around anyways if I get a shot, just because as much as I would like to say that I could shoot something 500 yards away, ethically, I feel pretty comfortable at 200. So yeah, I'm excited. You getting ready to go head up?
Yeah, I'm getting ready. I got to just put together a few items. I'm more or less ready to throw things in and head out.
Yeah, me too. I got a few things I got to do. I'm making a little modification to my pack, so I got to get that done, and then hopefully next year I'll get the pack that I really want. But this year I got to kind of work with what I have and make it work. But I think it'll work out pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about it. So
I am too. I'm excited for it with that pack too. Like it'll do what you need.
yeah,
Pack
yeah,
something out.
pack something out. Exactly. So, Joe, I think that's all I got tonight, man.
Yeah, I think I've talked myself out. As much hot air as I'm full of, I can keep going, but as far as what I want to get out, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel about the same way. So, I guess I'll exit us out of here.
Okay.
Guys, thanks for listening to the Struggling Hunters. We appreciate all you guys' support, and we're still growing, and we're still plugging along. And with that said, we're the Struggling Hunters, and we're out.
Take care, guys.
Have a good one.
Hasta next time.